Hey!
Hey! Hi! So, today we're actually going to be doing a short little vlog talking about the Twilight TV show reboot.
I'm so freaking excited. Like, I'm feral right now. Like, I cannot contain myself. I know it's controversial. Not everybody's excited.
I mean, personally, I'm super excited for the reboot because this may come as a shock to some of you, but I hated the movies. When I saw the first one in theaters, I was so excited, went to a midnight showing, and just sat there and was like, oh, so everything that everyone's been making fun of me for, we weren't proving them wrong, we were proving them right because it's a parody. That's how I felt. So I'm hoping that this one is like, actually, cool. So we wanted to just go over things like that we thought were book accurate stuff that are non-negotiables that we decided must be in the reboot.
We gotta have them.
Some things that we think would be cool if they included, and then we're gonna throw in some ideas that we have if we were in charge. So
Also, we should be in charge.
yeah, vote for us.
Vote for us.
Put any ideas that you guys have in the comments too.
If this reboot is gonna be done well, because so many things are being rebooted just fucking because.
Yeah.
Y'all sound off because like we need as much conversation about this and what should be happening as possible.
Yeah, the more content is out there, the more ideas it'll give the people who end up making these big choices. So
yeah,
we're just gonna be one of those voices today.
Yeah. And if you agree with the stuff that we're saying, our channel's tiny, but we're trying to like scream this as loud as we can. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, but send it to everybody. No. Please. We're gonna start with some things that were in the book series that were glaringly missing from the movies that we feel like
Why?
Why?
Number one is the blood typing scene.
Excuse me?
Why? Where they literally like have the whole like he's a vampire because it's blood thing.
He picks her up, like carries her like bridal style like to the nurse's office. It's a whole thing.
It's romantic. Does he drive her home that day? I don't even remember.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
It's the first time they were alone in a car together, and he's like, I can fucking do
Yes,
this.
guys.
Come
Come on.
on.
Plus, everybody loves a good little like pricking moment.
The graphic novel of Twilight it's all black and white, really, really cool art style, and
By who?
that's
Give him cred.
the graphic novels were adapted by an artist named Young Kim, who did pass away halfway through doing New Moon, but they are absolutely amazing. Graphic novels are really hard to come by in paperback format, but if you can find one digitally, highly, highly recommend. They're all in black and white, and the blood typing scene is the first time that we see color, because it's like a prick of red on the thing. And it's really spooky, and it's really scary, and it's thematic, and it's an aesthetic, and everybody should read the graphic novel.
I love it. Another part that I think is super important is, so the whole scene where she's like, what are you?
I know what you are.
Is actually after their first date
Yeah.
on a car ride home.
Remember when they go to the Italian restaurant in Port
Mushroom
Angeles?
ravioli.
She gets the mushroom
2
ravioli and
Cokes.
2 Cokes.
All right, one mushroom ravioli. Thanks.
It should just be like a cute floaty, like, oh my god, I'm wearing his jacket, I'm in his car after our first date.
Yeah. Also, she's already talked to Jacob at La Push at this point, and she's figured out fully that he's a vampire.
Yeah.
So
And they've been
she's,
talking about it all dinner too, like talking around it.
And then they get in the car, and so she's like, so like, you're a vampire, aren't you? And he's like, so like,
Yeah.
what if I am?
But it's like a metaphor
flirty.
for her being like, so you like me, don't you? And he's like, yeah, I like you, whatever.
The whole vibe is different.
Yes.
The original scene with I Know What You Are, Say It Out Loud, iconic.
So wrong.
I mean, that's your opinion.
How do you know what's good for me? That's my opinion!
We already did the other one. Let's do it this way.
And this way we don't have to compare the two, you know? Doesn't have to be the same.
Yeah. Another one that's kind of similar to that is the meadow scene. I feel like I mean, in the movie, it was very similar to the theme of the movie, but I would love for it to be more of like a fairy, glowy fantasy scene where we're just like surrounded by butterflies and sparkles and glitter and like warmth.
It's supposed to literally like give heaven. Like it's supposed to give paradise. Like, oh, this is a
Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
Yes. And Edward talks about how like when he's trying to calm down, like one of the things he does is like count how many bugs are like in the meadow, and I love the idea of it being like just like full of like life and like fluttering sounds.
The birds
like
and the bees,
heartbeat.
you know?
And it could be a cool way to like contrast to like the beginning of the meadow scene when he's like, I could kill you or whatever. Like, it would just be interesting to show. He's feeling that moment, and then he's like realizing, oh wait, this is a beautiful place. She sees me as beautiful.
Wait.
Like, whoa, wait, this
Does
is
she
actually
like me for me?
pretty.
Wait. This ain't for the best. My reputation's never been worse, so you must like me for me, for me, for me, for me. We can't make any promises now, can we, babe? But you can make me a drink! Jacob is supposed to be 6'7".
Just make him 6'7".
Literally, like, if you're Bella and like her both of her boyfriends are like this tall all the time.
You can also cheat it, like put him on a soapbox and have like that camera, like
Tom Cruise, that shit.
Yeah.
Or honestly, have 2 different actors play him in the beginning pre-werewolf and then post-werewolf.
Because he's like young baby, and then becomes like, whoa, who are you?
Literally, New Moon, he's supposed to like change so much as a person because of the werewolf stuff that Bella's like, oh my god, is that you? Like,
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah, I think that would be so fun.
that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, this is gonna be a pretty controversial take, but it is book accurate, so like need y'all to like chill preemptively. Charlie Swan is an asshole.
Yeah.
I know that's really, really hard to hear
Okay.
because movie Charlie slays.
And he's, you know, Charlie seems like a shy, nice guy in the first book.
Like, he's
but
fine.
he gets like re-traumatized by Bella when she ditches him, and then like associates ditching him with Edward, and then becomes a dick
But
because
also,
all he
like,
cares about is getting rid of Edward so he can keep his daughter. Like, he didn't keep his wife.
Yeah, he like projects all of his bullshit with Renee onto Bella. He like forces her to do all the cooking, all the cleaning.
And like celebrates Jacob when he like assaults Bella.
Jacob's like, yeah, no, I kissed her against her will and she hit me. And Charlie goes, good for you, kid. Like, gross! This is the Forks chief of police, and he is not an ally to women, to his own daughter even.
No.
Glad we covered that.
Me too.
Another thing, if you didn't read the books and you only watched the movies, and I said, does the phrase, do I dazzle you, mean anything to you? And you're not immediately like, oh my god, like,
We need to bring back the dazzle.
The dazzle.
That is a like huge part of the first book, at least, where he like knows he can turn it on, and he knows he can use his dazzle on Mrs. Cope, on Bella, on pretty much
Jessica
anyone.
Stanley,
Yeah, he wants
Angela
to get
Webber. Yeah.
We need some like
some hypnotism, like
Yes.
some vampire shit, like some like woo, 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 woo. Last thing, a huge component of the book, especially Midnight Sun, but any Twilight book reader will know that Bella's blush is a huge factor. Like,
it's
that's
her literal blood pooling in her face.
when she's like feeling emotional.
Because she's so shy and clumsy that she blushes like a lot, and like every time she blushes, Edward's like, blood.
we need to see her blush as her reaction to the environment, and we need to see his reaction to her blush, and then like how that is the whole entire f***ing problem.
Precise.
Now we're gonna move on. It's 15 years later. The cultural scene in America and the world is entirely f***ing different. So how should we do Twilight now?
These are things that they should do because it would make the series successful.
Yeah, first things first, hire Native people. Contribute to the Quileutes Move to Higher Ground Fund. It's in the description. But there should be a section of like the production budget allocated towards helping the Quileute tribe.
A lot of like misinformation was put out there that they probably didn't appreciate.
No, like the legend of the third wife and all of that, like
All
that's
fake.
That's not real. She just
Yeah.
made that up, but they are a real tribe. Hire Native people to be behind the scenes, to be writers, to be actors, to be creative directors.
Just involved and having like input on the Quileute storyline.
period.
Yeah.
Done.
Another thing that I actually was inspired by, somebody posted this thing on Reddit that was like Harry Potter if all of the characters were Balenciaga models, and I was like, I want all of the Cullens to be like strange looking people, like not just like a boy next door hottie patati.
Like,
They need to be like
he's a
weird.
little bit- like they need to be angular. Like they need to look like poorly rendered, like 3D models.
Yeah, I want them to be like, whoa, you can't take your eyes off them. Like, clearly not human.
Literally, Bella rolls up to Forks first day and is like, who the f*** are those people?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, the
Yeah.
Cullens, they're f***ing weird.
Yeah, not
Those
just like
guys-
10s out of 10, but like
They're
3.
Like,
what? Let's cast some weirdos. Why not?
Let's cast some weirdos. And also, they don't all have to be like pale-skinned.
I think if you make it like they are all kind of like odd looking, so they don't all have to have like the same skin tone in order to look from the same
cohesive.
Yeah. When you go to like a fashion show, like all the models are gonna look like they're from the same place, but they're not all gonna look the same. So another thing is we can all acknowledge that Twilight is literally smut for tweens. It was like our introduction to like being horny.
I'm sorry. Check out the other videos on our channel. You will see that they read like erotica.
And this is why young ladies love this, because, you know, we were kind of starting to find that part of ourselves, and this was like a lovely introduction where they don't touch, it's just kissing.
Yeah.
But it's like, so I want it to be sexier, sluttier, smuttier, hot. I'm thinking red hot. Oh my God, you could cut the tension with a knife.
It needs to be a matter of life and death every time they even breathe near each other, because they are that horny for each other.
Look, sex sells, and that's why Twilight sold.
Yeah. Romance novels are the #1 best-selling book genre in the world. 50 Shades of Grey was a Twilight fan fiction. It was called Master of the Universe, published by Snow Queen's Ice Dragon. This is the driving force behind the pop culture phenomenon of the moment. Oh my God. Another thing beyond that is like, it needs to be scarier.
Yeah.
Like,
make Edward more of a vampire. When he's like hiding in her room, make him like creepy and like a horror movie where you're like scanning a room and all of a sudden you see someone standing there. Not him just like in jeans being like
he's like creeping in through her window like,
yeah, oh yeah, he could like be creeping in like a weird like, you know, like a horror movie. More bloody, more sexy, more scary. Say it with me now. More bloody, more sexy, more scary.
What? More bloody, more sexy, more scary.
One more time and bloody, sexy, scary. Final section, this is where we're just gonna have a little bit of fun.
If we were in charge, this is what we would do, and it would hit.
Yeah, these are just some fun ideas that we thought would be fun to do if we were in charge. So here we go.
When the vampires get thirsty, their eyes are described as going from like red or gold, like progressively darker to black.
Your eyes were black the last time I saw you, and like golden brown.
Yeah, I know. It's the fluorescence.
I think a really, really fun take on this is, it's not that like the shade of their eyes gradually gets darker. Their pupils expand. Have you ever seen somebody on like so many drugs? People's pupils,
their pupils
scientifically
expand what times 40 or whatever.
Times whatever.
We were on the schoolyard and the guys were like, what grows 40 times when you're excited? Pupils! You thought I was gonna say
Yeah.
got you. It also makes sense too for like the vampires that eat humans to just be like, wow, come here, and like enticing them while their pupils are big, because they're like, oh my God, I want to eat you so bad.
Yeah.
And it's like mixed with the dazzle.
Imagine new moon, Bella gets the paper cut, everyone turns to her and their eyes are all like, like how scary would that be? That also leans more into the like desire, sexy element to it. That's like, it's not that they get all ferocious, like I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, like
they're overcome by desire.
Yes.
Not just like
Not
evil or whatever.
aggression.
Yeah. Another thought that I had for Alice's visions is a scene starts and you think it's just like part of the show,
like how
but
it's
then
going.
actually it's like Alice's vision. We cut back and it's like, oh my God. So like you don't really know when something is a vision or when something is actually happening. In the knot, it describes how Alice sees like a bunch of different visions, kind of like all
halfway
sort of clumped around. So we could show kind of a manifestation of Alice like walking into different visions and sort of seeing different paths and realities.
Alice as a character is so interesting, and we need to like,
She runs the freaking show.
Like, Alice is so capable, and we need to see like how she executes on what's going on in her brilliant mind.
Half of anything that happens is like literally they're all like, so Alice, what do we do? Like it would be great to have a whole episode just on her visions and how she handles that and like how she sees things.
Meanwhile, it's like 2 seconds in the actual plot. You know what I mean? Like it's a split second for everybody else. But
Yes. She just goes and everyone's like, Alice, and it's just like that, but really she's like had an entire episode's worth of like situations going on.
Yeah. This is a reference to the original series in Breaking Dawn Part 2 when they have the big fight. Turns out it's an Alice vision the whole time. I want to see that happen like multiple times throughout the saga, because that's also like the scary element coming back. There could be a zillion moments, scenes between Edward and Bella where he just like
kills her.
gives up and kills her.
Oh yeah,
Don't
because he also, like, it was talked about in Midnight Sun, like, he had to see that in Alice's mind, like, all the different versions where he, like, kills her. He had to go through that. Spends an entire day of, like, and then and then what if I, like, no, I still.
Also, there's that deleted scene from the original Twilight movie. You don't know what I'm talking about.
don't know.
But I'm gonna play this clip right here because this was what I jerked off to.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
Don't apologize for
Baby,
jerking
I'm
off.
Another thing, this is something that I think would be a really good idea, but I also understand might be very controversial, and like I just feel like as an animated series, Twilight would f***ing slap. Also, it's a lot easier to adapt when you're not comparing two live action versions to each other.
Yeah, and it puts a lot of pressure off of like casting. Like people care a lot about casting, and they'll judge like a person being like, hey, they're not hot enough, or they're not this enough.
They're not Robert Pattinson. They're not Kristen Stewart.
Yeah,
like it's not.
So it's like there's less pressure to like find the perfect person that probably doesn't even exist to be this character when you can just draw them.
You can just draw them.
You can just draw them.
That opens up more opportunity for diverse and inclusive casting if it's all voice actors. Think about like Into the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man and all of the Spider people were able to whip around and do so much cool stuff that you can't do on a practical live action set.
With an animated series, you can do a lot more magic stuff and unconventional stuff because you're not bound by the rules of reality.
The powers can be done so much better. The blushing, like the aesthetic of it can be great. Once again, I harken back to the graphic novels. Y'all, these things are it. Animation has a huge global reach and it's a big f***ing deal. So, well, like, I don't know why we would miss out on the worldwide market, but I'm not in charge.
So we're gonna wrap things up with kind of a fun little motif and sort of where Stephanie Merritt was probably coming from when writing.
We see you, we hear you, Stephanie. Like, we know you have some pretty conservative values and that the whole thing is a metaphor for abstinence, but we would like to argue that it can be read as a manifesto for bodily autonomy and women's rights.
Yeah.
Literally what happens is the entire book series, Bella is like, hi, I would like to be a vampire. And all of these old white men, literally, are like, but no. But
you don't want that. You don't really want that.
Because don't you think you're gonna want to have kids one day?
Yeah, you're throwing away your everything that makes you a woman.
Everything that makes you like
pure,
valuable and like no, you can't do that.
I don't want to give you any power. I don't want to make you strong enough to like fight anybody off. I don't want to like make you feel empowered and like the person you always wanted to be. I want to keep you under my control.
Your body, not your choice. Even the women in her life, like Rosalie is like, I didn't get to have that choice.
Yeah,
so
you
like
regret it.
Yeah.
You regret it.
It's like, no, yeah, but it's my body, my choice.
Yeah.
Does that sound familiar, ladies? Huh?
Yeah.
Anything like that sound familiar? Only after dying in childbirth does she get to live her ideal existence. Twilight is a horror story about what happens when you get knocked up by your high school boyfriend, and I will not hear anything else. That's why it's stuck with all of us. That's why it's coming back around now.
Maybe this is like Stephanie's way of being like, I felt controlled my whole life by my religion and by men, and this is sort of me sort of screaming out, being like, hey, let me choose for myself.
Yeah.
Let me choose things for myself. Everyone is constantly telling me to do this or do that, and Bella is sort of being like, oh my god, like, why is everyone controlling me? I would love to just make my own choices, even though in the end she doesn't really get to. Those are our thoughts. I'm sure we have more. I'm sure you have more.
Let's hear them.
Yeah.
We care about this a lot.
We're just excited. We can't wait to see how more things develop, what else happens. It may not be like years even until this comes out, but.
So we've got plenty of time to worm our way
Yeah,
onto
we're on
that
round 4.
This will be successful because the fandom is behind it.
Exactly.
So let's make our voices heard, ladies.
Let's do it.
Let's tell everybody
Ladies
what
and
we want.
and heathies and everybody.
Yeah, amazing. Sweet.
All right, love you guys.
Love y'all.
See you on the next one.
Mwah.